Hi everyone. So last class we were discussing about the inheritance, right? For the inheritance, what are the keywords are used in the parent and child?
In parent, we use virtual, and in child, we use extends.
Virtual, and in child we use
Extends.
extends. Using this, I can inherit the other logic or parent logic into the child. Now today we are going to talk about the polymorphism. Today we are going to talk about the polymorphism. Now, what is a polymorphism? Polymorphism is nothing but polymorphism is the ability of the object or method to behave differently at the different places. Polymorphism is the ability of a object or a method to behave differently at different places. That means behaving differently at different places is called as a polymorphism. Behaving differently at different places is called as a polymorphism. So there are two types of polymorphism. One is overloading and the second one is overriding. Second one is overriding. What is the overloading and overriding? So when I say overloading, that means overloading is nothing but whenever two or more methods of a class, two or more methods of a class have same name, but two or more methods have a same name, but have different signature. Signature is nothing but a parameter list. Parameter list is called overloading. Overloading is nothing but I have a more than one method, but each method have a same name, right? Every method has a same name, but the difference is each method will have a different signature. That means different parameters they have is called overloading. When it comes to the overriding are basically two or more methods or two or more classes with the same method name inherits from another method. Another method is called overriding or also called as a runtime polymorphism. Overriding is also called as a runtime polymorphism. Or else it is called as a dynamic binding. What is the overriding is nothing but two or more classes with the same method name inherits from another method is called overriding. So let's see with the examples, like what is the overloading and what is the overriding. Okay. So an override function replaces a function from inherited from the base class. An override function replaces the function that is inherited from the base class. Okay. Now what is the polymorphism? Polymorphism is nothing but one object at different places behaving differently or adopting differently, showing a differently is called as a polymorphism. Now let's take one example, a person. So person is the object, right? Person is the object. Same person, when that person is in class, right? When the person is in class, he is active or authoritative, right? He is in a fully focused on listening to the class. When the person is in class, he is active, directive or authoritative. Same person when it goes to home. Same person when it goes to home. And when the person is with family, then the person will be changed from the active, authoritative, same person is changed to the love, caring, right? And same person if he goes to the company. Same person if he goes to the company or in an office, or the person is in office in front of the boss, then person obedient. The person is obedient, polite, professional. He changes his character, right? And when the person is at home, it's a different person, but the person is same. But based on the places, person is changing his behavior, right? Behave differently. When it is home, he behaves differently. When it is company or in office or in front of boss, the person is obedient, polite, professional. So that means one person is at different places showing the different character is called as a polymorphism. One person, different places showing a different character is called as a polymorphism. Right? So when this person is at home, he cannot be so polite and professional in front of the home. In front of the family, he cannot be professional, or he cannot be a polite, or he cannot be a obedient, right? Otherwise, there is no difference between the home and in office. Home is where we wanted to relax and talk whatever we want. But when I go to the office, I have to be sincere, right? And obedient, polite, professional, everything I have to follow the rules. Okay, so while working on the polymorphism, okay, overloading or overriding, okay, in other word, when I say object, in other word, one object, I will treat it as a method, or again at somewhere I will treat it as a class. or somewhere I will treat it as a complete data, or somewhere it is different. So this whole class will be one data, right? Salesforce supports polymorphism. Salesforce supports polymorphism. An object can behave anywhere. An object can behave anywhere differently. We can do this differently in two ways. What are the two ways we can do it in Salesforce? Overloading and overriding. Right? Salesforce supports the polymorphism. That means Salesforce supports behaving a object differently at the different places. Object is nothing but could be a method, could be a class, or could be a data. So what are the different ways I can do it in the Salesforce? Two ways I can do it, using the overloading and overriding. So if you try to overload a character or behavior in a person, it will keep on overloading it. Like first I'll load the character of class, then again I will overload it of the home, again I will overload of the company, again loading it, again I'm loading the different character onto the person. When I keep on overloading the character of the one person in a one day, the person will go on mad, right? He keep on overloading it. He keep on loading the characters. So then we go for the overriding. Whenever I am getting inside the class, or I'll remove love, affection, or everything when I come to the class, and I will override the love with right direction. I will override the care, professionalism. And when I come out of the class, then I will completely take out that what are the characters that I have. So let me show you with the example how to write it. Now, when I say overloading, now let me give some example here. So overloading is nothing but I have a class or method, same name, but different signature. Now what I'll do is I'll create a method. Okay, I'll create some method. Let's say public void. So what happened? I should create a method. Let's say overload method. Right? So I'll be having a same method. Assume that in a class, I have a multiple methods with the same name. If I give this, will it throw an error in my class or not? I have a same method and same signature. Will it throw an error? Or it will be same?
It will throw an error saying there is already a method with the same name.
There is already a method which is there, so we cannot write the same method. But let's assume that I have a different signature. Right? I have a different signature. Now what will happen?
It will not throw error.
Why it will not throw an error?
Because the input parameters.
Because it has different parameters in different methods inside the different methods.
Right.
Input parameters, it will call the method. You know?
Yeah. So it has a different parameter. Now, if you observe the 39th line and 47th line, I'm passing the same parameter, but the order of the parameter is different. Right? Here I'm passing the integer and string. Here I'm passing the string and integer. The first parameter in this line, it is expected string. In this first parameter, it is expected the integer. Even if your parameters are different with the different name, it is going to think as a different. It is one method is behaving differently at this place, this place, this place, this place. Now let's go ahead and see. This is called as a overloading. Okay, overloading is nothing but I have a method, or it is possible a class also. No, it is a method, only the method, not the class. So method of a class have a same name. Only methods begin overloading it. So I have a method of a class which have a same name but different signature. Let's go ahead and see with the example. File new Apex class CL underscore 0609. And let's say this is what are we doing it? We are doing the polymorphism. We are doing the polymorphism. First, right now we are doing the overloading. Okay, we are doing the overloading. Now inside this, I'll create a same method, whatever we have done it in the notepad. Let me print some values here, system.debug.
Maybe you can just say method 1, method 2. So we'll know it.
Yeah. So that's what I'm going to put it, overloading. Method 1. Now what is the error it is coming here in 16th line?
It says the variable name is already existing.
Okay, so what is that means?
So integer third line, sorry, the 13th line, because you have already given an integer n there, then 18, you have to change to some integer. Instead of 10, you have to change something else.
Is it because I have in the 13th line, that's the reason it is giving the error in the 18th line, or is it a different?
No, 18th line, not the 13th line, because you know integer string n is different than integer n. That can be a different variable. Right? But then that 18th line is getting confused because same string integer and string n.
So I can give the different parameters here, but variables, what are these variables? These are instance variables, right? So when I say instance variable, should not be a duplicate values. So it should not be a duplicate variables.
So basically line 13 is the problem. Right?
No, not a line 13. Let's see this. Okay. So now I have a integer n and string n, right? This is inside the one method. One method, I'm saying the variable, which is a some x n variable here. N variable you are saying in the first parameter integer. And again, you are saying the N variable in the second parameter as string. So it is getting confused. When you say the first parameter variable is also same as the second parameter variable, but you are saying here integer and you are saying here string. So when you have already declared the N variable already in the instance variable, why are you taking the same variable? That is the question. Now, if I give here N1, what will happen? It will think as a two variables. I'm passing the two variables with a different data type. Right? Two variables with a different data type. I cannot take a same variable again and again in the method parameter. That is, the instance variable always has to have only one variable. Now, same thing here, right? I can take this integer 2. It doesn't matter what is my previous method is taking. What is my previous method variable? What is the value it has? It doesn't matter. Now I can give here N1 also. It doesn't matter when this method is getting executed. It doesn't matter what is happening in the previous method. Basically, Salesforce doesn't care. So when this particular method is getting executed, it will be focused on only this method. It will not compare this method to this method or this method to this method. If I have a different methods and different parameters I have, it will focus on only this particular method. It will not check inside the parameter what are the variables are it is sending in the previous, what are the variables it has inside the first method, and what is the variable that it has in the second method. Is it same or different? It doesn't do that kind of a comparison. It doesn't do that kind of a comparison. So the instance variable or the parameter or signature will have their own declaration. Now we have this class is successfully saved. Let me copy this. Debug, open. Let's initialize this. Now p dot, what I'll give a method name. So when I give this method, what is the value that I'm going to get it?
Method 1, overloading method 1.
Overloading method 1. But in case if I give here 10, 20, I'm passing the two parameters. Which one it will get executed?
Third, fourth.
Sorry?
Method 5.
Method 5.
Method 5, it gets executed because both the parameters are integers. Both the parameters are integers. So it will cross check. So what it will happen is okay. I have a Apex class. Raj, are you getting it? Any questions?
I'm getting.
Okay. So in the Apex class, we have a different methods. All the methods are same. All the methods are same. But inside this method, but in this method, what is happening is it doesn't have any parameter. It doesn't have any parameter. I can say no parameter. And in another parameter, there are parameters, but only one. Only one is there, but what kind of a data it has, what kind of a information that it is going to take it. Only one parameter, but what kind of a information that it is going to take it. Does it take a string? Does it take a primitive data type? Does it take a S object? Does it take a collection? If it is inside the primitive data type, what kind of a data type inside the primitive data type? So a string, boolean, or integer, what kind of it? So let's assume that this is an integer. And I have another same method, which is equal to this. This also has only one parameter, but this will take a collection. This will take collection. And I have another method with the same name, right? It takes the S object data. It takes only one parameter, but it takes the S object data. Now let's suppose here I have another method. Another method I have it. Okay, where I'm expecting the data type is set of ID, which is account ID. I'm expecting the account IDs. Right? I'm expecting the account IDs. Now, how can I pass the account ID to this? How can I pass the account IDs to this? What is the first thing that I need to do in order to get the account IDs?
SQL query.
Okay,
Then figure.t should work, am I right?
sorry.
Figure map.tset will also work.
Math dot
Map.tset.
map dot key set. Okay, but before that, what the data you will keep it in the key set?
Figure dot. Okay, you have to put a map, am I right? So ID. Then you have to create a map of ID, and then
You mean to say map of ID?
yeah, map of means we need to create a map ID and whatever S object which is account. It's an
But
account.
why do I need a map? That is my first question.
Because you said, am I right? Input value, input parameters. We can get input parameters either by SQL. What all ways we can get the input parameters? Set of ID.
We have a collection. There are three types of collections we have: set, list, map. There are three types of collections we have: set, list, and map. Set will hold either set of ID or set of string, which I can directly get it. Either ID or string, I can hold it in the set directly. List, I can hold ID, string, account, list of S object, I can store it. Map will have a key and value pair. Now here, I need to get the set of IDs. Forget about the which type we have to use it, but first thing what we have to do in order to get all the account IDs. What is the first thing that I need to do?
We need to create selection type.
Sorry, I need to create
Selection type. Whether it's a list of S objects or list of
because your voice is not clear.
Okay, I'm saying we have to first create a list set of accounts. That we have to create an account set ID.
When you say set of account, before that, how do you get the data?
SQL query using the SQL.
Tell me the SQL query.
Select ID from account.
Select ID from account.
Because we just
ID comma
ID comma name from account.
okay.
and we can put this as a name, am I right? If either we can put it on as input parameter. So what we are doing on the line 4, can we not put it there? P dot overload method, inside the input parameters, we can put the SQL query there.
Here directly you will put the SOQL query.
Can we not? I think so.
Why we are going to put the SOQL query here? I'm expecting the collection. Okay, I'm not expecting the ID come entire record. I'm not expecting in the parameter.
So we can create a set of ID, which will be equal to this SQL, and then pass that set of ID.
How to get the set of IDs?
No, you can equal set of ID, account ID is equal to new, maybe just SQL query. Set of
ID,
name anything, account ID, and then equal to new set of ID, and then input parameters. SQL query.
then
Or maybe you can put the SQL query inside that. No?
inside this SOQL query. Okay.
And then in the line,
No, I just wanted to show you this system.debug. Highlight this, executed the highlighted one. What is happening? Line number 2, there is an error. What is the error?
ID capital I, ma'am. ID after equal to ID capital I.
Okay.
no, I think it's not, because I think you're pulling the name also instead of ID.
Okay. What is this error?
It's because we are expecting ID, we are passing name also instead of ID. That's it.
Okay.
Just a moment. Account spelling, madam. Hello.
No,
What is account spelling?
TU.
Sorry.
TT. Account. ACCOUNT in the parameter system.debug.
Okay.
doesn't matter.
Why,
See,
hold on a second. Why we have to give the account here?
No, there we kept, but spelling error we wrote account ID because we are taking that is as a we have created one variable name, no set of ID, where account ID we gave. Okay, that is same. Sorry.
Moving on to your question. I'm executing this. What is the error? I'm getting it.
put it in a bracket. I'm just, can you do me a favor? Can you put it in a square bracket? That's a cool thing.
What I need to do?
In a square bracket, can you try putting it in a square bracket?
Okay. What is the error?
Okay, because it's expecting a set and we are getting an ID.
First of all, the concept is wrong here. The concept is wrong. What are we trying to do here is I'm expecting the IDs. When I say IDs, only it have one value. It has comma 001 and account is always starts with a 001 and 7878 001 5656. Like this, the data will be stored in the set. The data will be stored like this. Now, what are we trying to do? Inside the IDs, I'm going to store a records. These are the records. I'm getting the records. What are the records I'm getting it? I'm getting the ID. Okay, ID, I'll get completely how the data will be getting account equal to, I'll get the ID. And second one also, I'll get account record. I'll get the account record equal to another ID. And I'll get another account with a different ID. Now, we are trying to store the information of the ID. We are trying to store the information of ID, complete record information into the single ID, where it is supposed to hold the data only of the name of the ID. It doesn't hold any other data. When you are storing the complete record information inside the ID, it doesn't accept. Why? Because when you complete record is nothing but this is a list. You are querying the list of the records. And this is what is expecting, this is expecting the set. Set is expected here. And we are trying to store the information of IDs equal to list of record. Does it possible? It is not possible. So that's the reason what is happening here when I try to execute it. It says that your type is list of account and you are trying to store it into this set of IDs.
So can we not do two things here? Either we go to, one by one and then add it on the set, or maybe just put trigger.new key set. Will that work in the first line? If we put trigger.new.
Why we are going to trigger.new?
Should we go for the for loop? For loop.
Yeah, for loop will work.
First thing is, this is fine. Okay. Set of accounts is correct. Okay. Now tell me what I have to do this. Where do I need to save this information? I'm querying the data here. Where do I need to save the data?
So the for loop should be loop through each account using the ID.
Okay.
Account ACC.
Okay.
And can we create a list set first and then we can add that set?
Why do we need a list?
No, means I'm saying set. Can we create a set of IDs first and we can add that IDs whenever we are looking through it?
Account ID is equal to new set of ID. Okay. Now how can we add it inside?
ACC IDs dot add is AID dot, sorry, dot add is equal to AID dot ID. No, I think AID.
Dot ID or complete ID?
A dot ID.
Okay. Now will I have the information into the account IDs? What happened? What happened, Amla?
Should we use the get function?
Why do we
Get the
need
IDs.
Why do we need get?
To get the IDs.
It will come. I think get we need for maps.
Why do you need a get for set?
Okay, so the add function itself adds it.
Okay, now we have the IDs here. Now what is the next target? I need to pass the information, these IDs into the overloading method. Now I can pass account IDs here. Let's go ahead and execute it. Perfect. Overloading method 7 is giving the all the IDs. Clear, everybody?
Yes, ma'am.
Now let's create one more class. This is overloading. Let's create it. Now overloading concept is clear, everybody. Overloading is nothing but same method behaves differently with a different signature or different parameters is called as a overloading. Now coming to the overriding. Now coming to the overriding file, let's create a new class. (0609). Let's say polymorphism. Overriding. Let's say this is the parent class. You guys remember the inheritance, how to declare the inheritance?
Yeah, public virtual class and class name.
Parent should have a virtual keyword. Now let me create a child as well. Now how can I extend this parent?
Extends and then the name of the parent class.
Perfect, fine. Now in the parent, what I'll do is I'll create a method, public void, let's say overriding method. And here I'll give a system dot debug this parent method. Overriding. Now I'll go to the child class. In the child class, I'll create a same method. I'll create a same method. But will it accept? It will not. Because anyway, I have a, both are connected, virtual and extended is there. But in order to method to override, in order to parent method to override, we have to use the keyword in the child class which says that override. Now what is happened here? Now child is calling the parent. That means it inherited it. It inherited the parent method inside the child. Now when it look at the method, so when you look at the method will have the overriding method, and same method we are using it here. The first thing which is Salesforce is going to throw an error saying that whatever the method that you are using same as a parent, but this parent method is a non-virtual. You cannot do anything on the non-virtual. Even method also should have something called as a virtual. Even method should have keyword called virtual. And once it is a virtual, okay, and what are we trying to do? We are trying to override it. Now I'm trying to override. Otherwise, it will not understand what am I doing it here. Otherwise, it will not understand what I'm doing it here. Anyway, method has a virtual. That means this method can be used, same method name can be used in the child. But when I'm using it, what is the purpose of it? Am I overriding it, or am I calling the different parameter, or what I'm doing it here? So in this case, we are overriding. It is giving the error below here. Method must use the override keyword because we are using the same method and which is similar to the parent. And why are we using similar to the parent? Because I wanted to override it. I wanted to override it. Now let's say here, I'll say this is child parent, child method. This is a child method. Now I'll show you the trick here. Okay, What are the things that have happened here? Inherited happened. Oh, it is not saving. Okay. So first thing is that inheritance happened. The class is parent class is virtual, and in the child class, I have extended the parent class. That is a inheritance happened. Parent class behavior I am able to access in the child class right now. Now, when we go to the method level, in the parent of method level, in case if I'm trying to use the same method name inside the child class, if I'm trying to use the same method inside the child class with same parameter or same signature, what is that means? If I'm using the exactly same, that means I need to have parent should say that whether this method should be accessible in the child or not. How it can say? By giving the keyword called virtual. When I say virtual, that means this method, child can use the same method. Child can use the same method, same parameter. But you decided whether you wanted to go with the override or you wanted to go with the different parameter signature. So right now we are going with the override. So what I'll do is I'll take the we have a child class here. Okay. See, let's initialize this. Now I'm calling the C dot overriding method. Now, what is the value that is going to give me? Does it give me the parent method debug or does it give me the child method debug information?
Child method information.
Sorry?
Child method information.
Child method. Why it is child method?
Because it is overriding the parent method.
Overriding the parent method.
Parent. Yeah.
So first it took, so whenever the execution is happening, whenever I'm executing this, right? Whenever I'm executing this, first what it will do, it will go and get the parent information and parent data it will get. Then on top of it, it will execute the child data. That means first we'll have the parent data and then it will override the parent on top of parent, it will override the child class. Now let's assume that if I give only the parent, if I give only the parent, and if I try to execute, what will happen? Which value it is going to give?
Will give the parent method.
Execute the highlighted one. It will give the parent method because when I'm executing the parent method, though it has a virtual, right? Parent, it does not go to the child. Only child can come to the parent. Parent does not go to the child. But in case if I wanted to get, while executing the parent, I wanted to get the child information. I wanted to get the child information. How can we do that? I'm executing the parent. I have a parent method. But while executing the parent, I wanted to get the child information. That means parent class equal to parent class while initializing it. Parent class is equal to new of child class. New of child class. That means on the initialization, I'm saying that my parent should be have a initialization of the child. Now, if I give PC dot method name, PC dot method name. Now what will happen if I try to execute this? Which value does it give? This side I have a parent information, this side I have a child information. And I'm trying to print the method which is common for parent and child.
So it will give the child value.
Why it will give the child value? Because whoever is the new is there, whoever is the initializing new, whoever is initializing the new, the data will be printed for that. So when you say whoever is initializing new, that means if I try to do this, okay, if I try to say child equal to new parent, new parent. Now what will happen if I try to print this?
It will throw error
Why it will throw an error?
because only child comes to the parent.
It will throw an error because illegal assignment. I cannot assign a child. I cannot assign a parent to child. I cannot assign parent to child, but it is possible only child can be assigned to parent, because who is extending it? Child is extending it. So that means only child can be assigned to the parent. Parent cannot assign to child. This is not right. Okay, only the child can be assigned to the parent. Right? Is this clear? Override function. What is happening on the override? Overriding is basically runtime polymorphism. That means during the runtime, it will verify how to a particular method, how it has to behave it during the runtime. So in case if I have it 2 or more classes which has a same method name, right now, which one we have to? We have a 2 classes. One is a child class and parent class, which has a same method here. 2 classes or 2 or more classes with the same method name inherits from another method. Inherits from another method. How did we inherited it? Using the parent class, using the virtual keyword. Event method also you have to use the virtual. And in the child class, first of all, in order to inherit, I have to use the extends keyword. And in order to override, I have to use the override keyword. So by using this, I can override. I can override the method. So this is how it will happen during the runtime of the execution. It will happen. When the child class started executing it, it will go to the parent. It will identify whether do I have a virtual method or not. If there is a virtual method with the same name and same parameter, then come here to the child. Does it have the override of that particular method? Then override the parent one. So it will execute it during the runtime. Clear overloading and overriding. Overriding function, what will happen? It will replaces the function inherited from the base class. What are the base class? What is the base class here? Parent class here. The base class is parent class, which we have just now did an example. Base class has a parent class. So it replaces the function inherited from the parent class. Clear?
Madam, I have a question.
Yes.
Like apart from polymorphism, is there any other method which helps for overloading and overriding?
As far as my understanding, only polymorphism we have overloading and overriding. Overloading and overriding. Do you have any other concept?
No, I don't have, miss, that I question I got,
As
so I.
far as my understanding, only polymorphism, not only the Salesforce. Any, if you take a Java or anything, only one concept is polymorphism, which has overloading and overriding.
Madam,
There
one
might
doubt
be-
I have.
There might be another one. I don't know that.
Hello,
Yeah.
madam.
Yeah.
Am I audible now?
Yes. Yes.
Madam, in other object-oriented programming, when it comes to polymorphism, this overloading and overriding, we are giving example with real time. What we give an example, like one person can behave in office is obediently and in home somewhat different. Uh, so sometimes overriding we are giving telling that runtime polymorphism. During runtime, it's going to checking whether method having same name with within the between two classes. When overloading applicable only within the class, I think.
Right.
Then something compile time polymorphism, where it will come in overloading, it will come compile time polymorphism.
Yeah. Overriding. Compile time. That means runtime execution. During the execution, okay, compilation will come both the things. Okay. Overloading and overriding, both the things will come. But actual runtime, when the actual execution happens during the code, their overriding is coming to play the polymorphism. This is dynamically binding the information. Here, what is happening? Everything sits into the one class. One class have a different method. One class have a different methods. That means each method will be having a different parameters are there. Right?
Then how can what is the difference from compile time polymorphism and runtime polymorphism?
So here overloading is nothing but you are sitting in the home, right? So you are the single person. You are the single person. You have to load your character when your kids are there. At the same time, you have to within 5 minutes when you have a call at you're right now working from home, right? You have to play a different character. When you step just a step out from the laptop, you have to do that. So at home, you have a multiple things which you have to manage. You have to manage the work, you have to manage the kids, you have to manage the family, you have to manage different things are there. Different, all kind of a characters, you have to do it. As soon as you are done with the meetings, you have to immediately change your character to talking to the kids. You cannot talk to your kids with the same manner of how you are talking with the boss, right? So you have to immediately switch that. So where you have the same place, but what is happening here? You are immediately changing the things. That is
Within the same class.
character.
Means within the home. Okay. Same location.
Within,
Overriding means different location means different classes. The behavior is going to change. That is overriding.
yeah.
And overloading means within the same location means same within the same class.
Yes. So
One more doubt, ma'am. I got clear, ma'am. One thing is, so virtual keyword we are using with class and the method. Can you use virtual keyword with local variables or instance variable?
No, we cannot. Local variables, yes, we have to use it. For example, if you are calling the not only the method, in case if you are calling the variable here, okay, you are doing some variable. Let's assume that you have some variable here, public. Okay, let's say integer. Okay, let's give the variable name as local var. I'll declare it 20. Okay, this is my variable. Now I have a same variable. I'll use it. Let's see what happens. If I have a same variable here, it is accepting it. So that means if I try to print the value here, I'll give it as a 40. Now, if I want this variable information, now if I try to print, Okay, let's go ahead and see how it is going to work. Now I'll execute the parent class, child class, parent to child. So child assignment is happening, only the child execution, only the parent execution. So I'm doing all three. Every time it is taking the child and parent, it is not printing. So now tell me what is the point of having here local variable. It is thinking as integer local var. Okay, it is thinking as local var here. Now let's say if I'll delete this, what is the value that I'm going to get it? It will give me the 20 or not, the parent data. It will give the parent data. So in the local variable, it's not required to have a keyword called virtual. And local instance variables also does not need a virtual keyword.
Okay.
Variable declaration does not require the virtual. Now let's go ahead and change some value here. Local var equal to 50. And let's save this. Click on execute. So click on debug. What is the value it is taking? It is taking the 50. Now let me do other way. Equal to local var plus 50. Now let's go ahead and execute it. So it is taking the parent value as well as it is taking the child value. It is calculating both the information. Clear? Any questions?
What is this dot on super dot?
Yeah, this dot super. Okay. Now, for example, okay, child class, let's go ahead and implement another method. So let's say public void, I'll implement another method. Now, if I wanted to execute only this method, then what I can do is I can simply call the method. Okay. Also, I wanted to execute this method. So what I will do is super dot. Let's see what happens here. I'll call this main method from everywhere. C dot. One I'm giving with the super keyword super dot, and one I'm not giving anything. Okay, first I'll try to execute the child. Let's go ahead and highlight that, execute the highlighted one. Click on a debug. No, I have executed only the child. Okay, so what happened? It first executed the, let me take a snipping of this. Okay, this is my output. Let's go to the main class, the child class. Okay, the first one, how it is printing the value, and just executing
It has taken the child method.
First, it is executing the overriding. Why it is executing the overriding? Because I have a method directly calling the overriding. Okay, first it is executed the overriding. So that's how it is printed the 70. Now what I'm doing it, I'm executing the main method. In the main method, how many methods I'm calling it? 2 methods I'm calling it. First method, it is going to the, whenever it says that overriding method will go to the child class of the overriding method. So what are the previous value plus right now I have, it is going to print the value here. Right. Next, what is happening? Super dot overriding method. When I say super dot overriding method means what it is printing, it is printing the parent method. That means I do not want to override, though I have a override. Okay, I have a overriding option is there, but I wanted to execute this method separately. I do not want my child to override it. There is a something where I need just a parent output. I need a parent output. If you wanted to execute the parent method from the child side, ideally what we will do it, if it is a normal class, how do we do it? If it is a normal class, you use the parent dot, you will use the class name. If you wanted to assume that this is not a inheritance class. Okay, this is a normal class. If it is a normal class, how do we do it? In case if I wanted to execute any other thing, I'll give the class name dot that particular method. But where it comes to the inheritance or when it comes to the polymorphism, if I wanted to execute a method separately without my overriding anything, okay, in case if I wanted to execute any method of the parent class, then I have to use the super. I have to use the super. Super means go to my parent and look for this method and get me the output of only the parent method output. So that's how we see the example here. So this is starting up the only child method execution, and these two are main method. In the main method, first I'm calling the child method, and I do not have anything here. It doesn't say whether super or anything. It doesn't say. It directly says that call the method. Which method it is calling? It is calling the local class. In the same class, I have this method. So go there and execute the value. So it is executed. Now I say super. When the system or when the Salesforce see the information, the keyword super is nothing but it will go to the parent class. Inside the parent class, look for that method. Where is that method? This is the method. Go ahead and execute the method. So it simply executed the method. So let's go ahead and see the interview questions. We will cover tomorrow rest of the things, okay? We have to go to the admin class. Interview questions are, what is inheritance? How to declare inheritance? What are the keywords that are used? What are the keywords that are used in order to implement the inheritance? What are the different properties what are the different inheritance properties? What are the different inheritance properties? Did you guys complete the assignment, the one which we gave yesterday?
Yes, ma'am.
Last class.
Yes, ma'am.
How about others? Completed the assignment? The calculator, anybody completed it?
Not yet, ma'am. We'll do it today.
Okay. Fifth one. When do we use super keyword? And coming to the, let's say here we are using the super keyword to call the parent. Let's see now if I say this dot, what will happen if I say this dot? How the execution happens?
It executes the child method, child overriding method.
So what is the output? Will I get it? What is the output? Will I get it here?
$70 plus $150 plus.
One is without any keyword here. Another one is super. And then we have it this. Now how the execution happens here?
So first it will execute this overriding method, which is in the child. So that is 50 plus 20 is 70.
Mhm.
So, and then 70 plus the super will go to the parent. 70 plus 20, 90, and again 90 plus 50. So it should be 148.
So what happened? First, it will be printing the child. Okay. There is no keyword before this, right? So when I do not have any keyword here, that means it is by default, it will think as a this dot. By default, it will think as a this dot. So in real time, we do not use the this dot. Okay. In case if you want specifically to anybody to understand, or if you want more clarity on that, it's up to the developer how they have to use it. Basically this is used for to call the class method within the class method. So first it will execute the overriding method, which is this method, it will get executed. So I have a 20 local variable, which is coming from the parent plus 50, which is a 70. So 70 it is going to print here. Then next it is going to call the parent method here. Parent is because I have used the super keyword. Super keyword is used for to call the parent method. So parent method does not have any output here. It's simply print without the value. Then coming to the next overriding method. This dot overriding method. That means it will go to the child. It will go to the method within the same class. Before I have a 70 plus 50, 120. It is going to print the 120. Now, if I try to execute this parent, what will happen? If I try to execute the parent main method, what will happen?
Parent class does not have main method, right?
Parent class does not have a main method, so it will give an error. Right? Now, if I try to execute this one, what will happen?
It will execute the same thing which executed before in the child class. So 70 a parent method 120.
But what is this error?
So it says the main method is not in the parent.
Why it is coming main method is not there?
Okay, we are assigning the child to the parent. So it considers the parent methods. So since it does not have main method, it's throwing an error.
Okay. In order to work this, what should I need to do? In order to make this work, what should I need to do? Venkatesh, what should I need to do in order to make this work? This is giving the error which says that method does not exist.
You should create a main method in the parent class as well.
Main method in the parent class. How can I create it?
Using the public virtual void main.
Public virtual
Void
void
main.
main. Okay. What do I need to? Does it work right now? Do I need to do any other thing?
Yeah, I think it will work. We add methods and
What is the error that I'm getting?
parent class is invalid and needs recompilation.
What is that error?
Method must use the override keyword in child class.
Override keyword. I have to use.
Public override void.
How will it work?
I think it should work now.
It will work. Because what are we doing it here right now? We are doing the parent and initializing with the child class. When two classes are combining it, I have to execute the method where the common method is there between two of them. Right? How about if I have something here, public void main2. Now, how about this? I have just main2 here. Does it work?
No, it will not work. You are assigning the child class to it.
If I have public void main3, let's save it. Does it work if I give main3?
No, main3 will not work because it is not there in the parent.
Main3 does not work. So what is the output that you got it? So you are everybody clear? When we have two classes, parent and child together, when we are initializing, taking the parent equal to new child class, what kind of methods do we have to execute it? Is it clear for everybody?
Yes, ma'am. Clear, ma'am.
When do we use this keyword? What is polymorphism? What are the different type of polymorphism? What is overloading? With an example. What is overriding? With an example. How to initialize. How to initialize overloading and overriding. Assignment. Implement a class overloading class has to have student is the method. Inside the student, no parameter. Get the class and total marks. Sports data. Food. Yeah, these are the different. And the next assignment is that should be on the overriding. So example for the overriding. Implement a overriding method parent no access to the object shared if person age is above 18 should have access to objects. If person age is above 30 or above 60 should have read access. Otherwise, no access. No access to the object. No access to the object. So this is in the child class, the logic has to be implemented. So basically here, we have to check the person. Person is the variable here. Person is the variable. If the person age is greater than or above 18, then the person should have the access to all the objects. Right? Person should have the access to all the object. If it is a above 60, should have the read access. If it otherwise, no access. Okay. Now let's go on to the admin classes. Any questions before I move on?
No, ma'am.
Okay.
No, ma'am.